The total asset value, the net worth of Americans is $183 trillion. The billionaires in America, the evil billionaires, their net worth is $8 trillion. The bottom 50% of America, their net worth is $4 trillion. So it is true that the billionaires have twice as much as the bottom 50%. But 183, minus that 12 is $170 trillion that the middle class of America has. And if you take the billionaires and take it down to like a $50 million net worth threshold, that's 23 trillion. So 23, call it 165, and then 4. So the middle class is really where all of the net worth in America accumulated. And yes, there's an ultra-rich group that has a lot of assets, but this is really what won in America in the last half century, is that middle class. But the problem is the bottom 50% left behind. So that's, I think, what is really driving and motivating this socialism today. Things are too unaffordable. There's an inequality gap, and there's this massive kind of motivation to do something about it. The problem is, I think a lot of government spending is the fuel on the fire that got us to this moment. So we all think like, oh, it was not fair. They've stolen from us, et cetera, et cetera. One thing we got wrong is tax policy in the US. And I know this is super boring to talk about, but it is crazy that when you have capital, it can compound. And then we put a lower tax rate, the capital gains tax rate of 15% or 20% on that capital, when we're charging 40% for people to do labor. But that's the tax rate for labor. It's crazy that the tax rate was flipped. Basically, labor should have always been taxed less than capital. And if we had taxed capital at a higher rate than labor, then you wouldn't have seen this massive kind of inequity. The second thing that we really messed up is Social Security. In 1982, Social Security, which is the safety net for that bottom 50%, that's really where their assets are supposed to sit. All their extra capital, which isn't really their extra capital, but it's yanked out of their paycheck, is put into the Social Security Trust Fund. It's an independent company, supposed to hold all the money, and it's supposed to invest it and make returns for the bottom 50%. In 1982, they changed the rules in Social Security, and all of those assets were invested in one thing, a U.S. Treasury bond, making 3.5% a year on average since 1982. As a result, there's $2.7 trillion sitting in the Social Security Trust Fund. It's a separate fund outside of the government, and all it has is a treasury note. All that money went to the government. They spent it all. It's gone. If you had put all the extra money that was put into Social Security since 1982 into the S&P 500, the Social Security Trust Fund would have an extra $37 trillion in assets sitting in it today. Those would be stocks owned by America, by the bottom 50% of America.